Okay. Okay, recording in progress. Hello, everybody, and wait 1 second here. Okay, and welcome to the September 25th, 2024 meeting of the Landmarks Commission. Item A on our agenda is information on the Zoom meeting, and it looks like about half of us have that down tonight. So it's done and it's done properly. Item B, roll call. Stephanie?
Everyone is present outside of Susan, David, and Rebecca, who are all excused.
Okay. Item C on the agenda, approval of tonight's agenda. Accept a motion for that.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Having a motion and a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Tonight's agenda is approved. Approval of the, what was it, the August 21st, no, wait. Yeah, the August 21st minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Having a motion to approve and a second, all those in favor, reply, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Okay, item E, regular business. E, number 1, consideration with possible action on a design review for new replacement sign located at 1008 South Monroe.
Hello, everyone. 1008 South Monroe is historic Hazelwood. Location is illustrated here. And this is a Google Street View of the recent past. I just want to point out the flagpole for location reference, and then an old sign further to the left in this image. I think the old sign's going away and a new sign is coming closer to the flagpole. That new sign will be roughly 112 inches wide. And here you see the flagpole, and in the background, hiding behind a tree, is the current sign to be removed. We do have a conceptual sketch of the new sign, Hazelwood Historic House Museum. Looks like it's 111.6 inches wide, but you know, give or take. And end of the day, the recommendation is approval of the proposed sign.
I think this has tons of influence on the historic nature of that property. I would make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Muted, Ron.
Having a motion and a second to approve, all those in favor reply by saying aye. Aye. Is there anyone opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Sign approval. I'm sorry. Item number E2, consideration with possible action on design review for window replacement located at 830 South Jefferson Street.
830 South Jefferson Street, located near Porlier Street and South Adams Street. I forget, Stephanie, what's the house look like? Ooh, it's this house. Okay, so it's a cross gable Queen Anne with wood siding. Might still have the wooden windows. I don't really know, but they're 1/1s. Next slide shows what the COA application calls for. It called for 10 windows. The application calls for a vinyl casement types, which are troublesome. In response to that, we requested photos of the existing windows, a diagram showing which windows are to be replaced, and some sort of information on the proposed replacement windows, because we didn't have any. Next slide shows something that we received today saying 10 double hung windows, which are not casement windows. But that thing that we received today is dated November 3rd of 2021. So I'm not really sure if that's what's truly being proposed or not. Referring back to our email inquiry, we don't, or I guess we did just, what, an hour before the meeting, perhaps receive photos of the existing windows. And Stephanie has those. They're just from the outside though, so I can't really tell you what's behind the storm windows, except that they're 1/1 windows. And a diagram showing the windows to be replaced. So my interpretation here is that 10 1/1 sash windows are proposed to be replaced with 10 1/1 vinyl windows on this house, but this information is about as fresh to me as it is to you, so. So the initial recommendation was to hold off until we received some more information. Perhaps now we do have sufficient information, based on Landmarks Commission precedents. I think replacing 1/1 wooden windows with 1/1 vinyl windows has been looked upon favorably. So with that in mind, I think you would probably look upon this favorably, but I don't have any more information on what you've seen here. So thank you.
Okay, does anyone want to open the floor to discuss, or does anyone want to make a motion or?
The applicant is not here. They were not able to. They said if you did need more information from them specifically that you couldn't, gather on your own, they could attend the meeting.
Jason or Stephanie, can you go back to the submittal that you received today with the window types?
This information or the manufacturer
I
specs?
guess the manufacturer's information.
You see that?
Looking at an email.
Yeah,
So I guess, Jason, can you repeat what you said, that these are being proposed are?
So the application, it's on the previous slide, specifically called out casement windows. We received today what I'm looking at on the screen, which says as of November of 2021, they're not casement, but rather they're double hung 1/1. So we don't really have clarification on that, but what we've received today says there would be 10 double hung 1/1 vinyl windows.
So that, in my mind, that's a little fuzzy, and I'd like some clarification on that. And if they do in fact clarify double hung 1/1 windows that are consistent with previous precedent, I'd be happy defaulting to a staff decision on this to not screw up their timeline, but I think we need some clarification on making sure they're putting in double hung windows instead of casement windows. Does that seem reasonable to everybody else?
it seems reasonable to me. Is that in motion?
Sure, yes.
Or are entertaining some more discussion yet? I mean, anyone else want to jump in? And I mean, I think that sounded pretty reasonable, Steve.
Okay, so yeah, I'd call a motion to get clarification on making sure they are in fact double hung and then defaulting to a staff decision thereafter.
But we have a motion. Would someone like to second that?
I'll second that.
Okay, having a motion and a second to ask for more information and then allow a staff decision. All those in favor reply by saying aye.
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 Anyone nay? Okay, then that motion carries. Looking for some more information. Item number E3, consideration of possible action on a design review for a replacement rear porch, located at 810 Law Street.
810 Law Street, lovely house on Law Street near the hospital and South Jackson Street. Here's a picture of that lovely house. And then I kind of taken advantage of some Google isometric looking views here. So in the view on the left, you see the house and the backyard kind of to the right. There had been a jump porch on the rear of this house. And the photograph on the right shows that backyard, and on the house proper, you see some braces and some insulation where that jump porch had been. But before we move on, just looking at the view on the left, if you look from South Jackson Street up the driveway, that is the only vantage point of this porch that we'll be discussing, is from a perpendicular street. So that's kind of a handy view to keep in mind. And that view actually looks like the next slide. zoomed in a bit before that jump porch was removed. Which is kind of neither here nor there because we're talking about replacing one that's been removed. So really, end of this discussion is me recommending approval because nobody's going to see it. And the only caveat there is that wooden material should be painted. Thank you.
The applicant,
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Before you vote on that, can I ask a question? How does it come to be called a jump porch? That's just interesting to me. I would have called it an airing porch.
it's a locally loved term where people can jump off of it in the event of a fire.
Okay,
Jump porch.
all right, and then it was white and it was wood. And it was very rotten, which is why I pulled it off, but why does it have to be white again?
It can be whatever color you want. I'm just saying, we shy away from stained wood. We prefer a painted finish.
So cedar colored or brown colored, pressure treated, you don't want it,
No.
Okay.
No, painted.
right? I can live with that. I'm just kind of curious about that.
And are you the homeowner?
Yes, I am.
The floor wasn't exactly open. That's okay. Do you want to just state your name for the record?
Tim McCoy, and I'm technically the manager of 810 Law Street LLC. I live 50 feet from there, if you will, kitty corner on Jackson, which we'll talk about next, but I rent this house out and I renovated the inside last year doing the landscaping this year.
Thank you. Steve, do you want to pick up where you left off?
Yeah, I think I seconded Paul's motion to approve.
Oh, okay. So Paul had a motion. We have a second. All those in favor of approving that, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is there anyone opposed? No? So, okay, so the motion carries. Item number E4, consideration with possible action, excuse me, on design review for exterior updates to a garage located at 738 South Jackson.
So 738 South Jackson is more or less kitty corner from the previous house. Here you see it circled in what I presume is red, and we're discussing a 3-car garage at the rear of the property. Two pretty pictures of the house. In the bottom right, you can barely see one of the garage doors. Then I forget what else is included. Oh, pictures of the garage as provided by the applicant. 3-bay garage, some old 6/1 wooden windows. But as you can see, the siding is pretty tired with the old faux brick asphalt or some sort of composite siding. Did I throw in an isometric view? Ooh, yes, okay, so just for fun. South Jackson Street is kind of towards the left of the house. Just want to point out that the garage here is perhaps more visible from Law Street than it is from South Jackson Street, but none of that's terribly important because the recommendation here is to approve the roof, to approve new siding, to approve the fascia and soffit, and to approve new garage doors.
And Jason, I'm sorry, I didn't read all the detail in the application, but that is what they recommended, right? That's what was in there?
Yeah, I'm recommending approval of what the applicant is requesting.
That's what I thought. Okay, thank you for that.
I would agree with that. We haven't been overly particular about garages on the rears of the property that are not visible from the street. And so based on that, I would recommend approval. I'll make the motion.
I'll second it. Did the applicant say he's here, and do we need to open the floor, or are you comfortable just approving and carrying on?
No, I'm comfortable. The only thing I would add is the garage was built in 43 in the middle of World War II. I was intending to replace it. I've decided it's probably a better move to save it. And and you're absolutely right, it's much more visible from Law. But the person most affected by that is my primary residence, because that is immediately adjacent to my backyard. And I'm tired of looking at the asphalt shingles, so you can get it fixed up.
And so, Paul, you had a motion, and Steve, did you second that motion?
Yep.
That's what we thought. Having a motion and a second, all those in favor, reply by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Item number E5, consideration with possible action on design review for a replacement window located at 840 South Jackson.
840 South Jackson has come to this commission before discussing windows. It's a corner lot, very lovely stucco clad home. I believe we're discussing two windows here in this view on the house. They're bathroom windows, is my understanding. The existing windows are not historic, so these are kind of like a late add to a previously approved COA to replace the two non-historic bathroom windows with some crazy high quality 6/1 wooden windows. The recommendation is to approve.
Okay. Any comments or questions, anyone? Seeing that we have none, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that motion.
Having a motion and a second, all those in favor, reply by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, the motion for approval carries. Item number E6, consideration with possible action on a design review for replacement windows, driveway, and roof located at 735 South Quincy.
735 South Quincy, not too far away in the neighborhood. We're just kind of skipping over another road. Next photo is of the house. And after this, all I can kind of say is that my understanding is that the applicant said to disregard the driveway for now, and that the applicant said to disregard the roof for now. So focusing on the windows, I don't know which new windows, well, I don't know the existing windows to be replaced. These are the window photographs provided, by the way. And I don't have any information, any substantial information on the proposed replacements. So the next slide is the extent of the information provided for the replacement windows. That says 7 Anderson tilt wash double hung, 2 Anderson tilt wash double hung, single, 3 of a kind, 1 of a kind, 5 of a kind. I don't know what these really look like. Some of them call out colonial pattern for a grid. I don't know, number over number, what that means. I don't know which ones of these correspond to what on the house. So the recommendation was to hold this until more information had been provided.
And I did talk to the applicant this morning. They were not able to make this meeting and they were comfortable holding it till October when they could provide us with more information on the windows.
Okay, I'll make a motion to table this one till next month.
Second.
Ron, you're muted again.
I'm sorry, there was some noise going on in my house. Having a motion and a second to table this matter, all those in favor reply by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is there anyone opposed to table it? Okay, this motion is tabled till October. Item number E7, consideration with possible action on a design review for new storefront windows and doors and new signage at 240 North Broadway.
240 North Broadway, corner building in the, now shoot, I'm trapping myself. Is it the Broadway Dousman Historic
Yeah.
District? Okay. This particular application involves I'm going to call it the rear addition. So it's loosely speaking, a non-historic addition to the historic building. This application calls for 3 things. One is the storefront, so that's the door and the window. The other is the awning, and the third item is a wall sign. So just really quick before we move on, the recommendation here is approval of the storefront. That's the door and the window, noting that it's a black painted finish. Recommendation is approval of the awning. It's a metal frame awning with a fabric cover. The third item, the wall sign, that's where there's room for discussion because the method of mounting to the building is, I'll call it a yellow flag, I guess. So what do we have on the next slide? Talking about the sign. Here you see some views of that sign. My concern is that as illustrated, the foundation for this sign mounts into the face of a stone detail and into the face of historic brick on the historic two-story structure. So looking at the top left corner, you see the sign. Right next to that, you see the sign literally attached to the stone face. And then the upper arm attaches above the horizontal brick band of the backside, but you see these arms attached to the Broadway, no, yes, the Broadway facing side of the historic two-story brick building. So that's where I have concern, because I don't really understand the method of mounting here. And I don't know that it's advisable to force that mounting into the historic stone and brick on that building. Anything else I have to say? Not really. No. Recommending approval of the storefront, approval of the awning, and recommending discussion of how better to mount that sign. Thank you.
I make a motion to open up the floor.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Floor is
Aye.
open. Okay, floor is open. Go ahead.
So I know the property owners in attendance. Is it a simple matter of just getting your sign supplier to change the height of those brackets so that he's not in the stone?
Yeah, Garrett Bader, 300 North Van Buren Street. Yeah, Paul, that's for sure that bracket would not go through that stone detail. We love that. In fact, when we first were doing this project, the painter erroneously started painting one of them. We're like, oh my God, stop. Don't do that. So we had sandblasted it off because we want to keep those the way they are. I believe it's not seen very clearly on this shot, and I just looked at Street View, but it hasn't been updated yet. The Wisconsin Bank and Trust signs to the north, one arm is above the stone accent and one is below. That would be the same intent here. So I would say take that specific location, what appears to be the lower arm on that sign, knowing that it would not be on the stone. The stone would be untouched.
And so I think that's really all we're looking for, is that he's got to get out of the stone, call that a corbel maybe. And then the only other thing is just to have the sign installed or make sure that he's not fastening into the actual brick and he's utilizing the mortar joints in the red brick above.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that'd be my only comment.
Totally concur.
Yep, likewise.
So. Go ahead, Paul.
Eric, anything else you want to offer or no?
No, I think it was stated.
All right, make a motion to close the floor.
Second.
All's in favor? Aye. Floor is closed.
Make a motion to approve with the clarification on the sign mounting.
Steve, I'll ask you to just amend your motion. I know that there is a slight discrepancy in the drawings that were submitted over whether it was anodized aluminum or a black painted finish. And I think based on the drawings, I think it's clear they're going to go with a black painted finish, which is what the neighboring property has. But I think we just want to specify that.
Oh, okay. So I'll make a motion to approve with the modified sign mounting and black painted finish.
I'll second that motion.
Having having a motion and a second for what Steve just said. All those in favor, reply by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is there anyone opposed to that? Okay, well, the motion carries. Moving along, we're into item F, staff level COA applications.
Yes, we had 5, I think. Let's prove them. 2 fences. Oh, let me reduce this again. Thank you. One at 1033 South Quincy. This was for a rear yard fence. And then another fence here at 810 Law Street. Another flat roof at 151 North Broadway, the prettiest building in all of Green Bay. They got their roof repaired. For this one, this was another roof repair, same shingling at 812 Cass. And then one at 408 Dousman. This was for a rear deck that you can barely see from the public right of way. They were just redoing the deck boards for that deck. So that was all for staff level COAs this month.
And what was that address on Broadway?
151 North Broadway.
151
Yep,
North.
yes.
Okay, well, you said it's the prettiest building in Green Bay, so I want to take a ride by.
Oh, I'm joking. I'm
Oh,
very sorry.
oh, okay, all right. Staff, item F2, staff update.
I don't have any updates for them, do you? Oh, yeah.
Okay,
We filed our letter of intent to apply for a CLG subgrant for the 25 grant season, I think. I don't know, they have really weird patterns for applying. So we have the letter of intent that goes in, we submit our actual application in December, and then we find out in spring if we are, if we receive an award or not. And for this subgrant, as you guys know, we did the intensive survey update with the subgrant funds from the CLG. For this one, we are applying to do a district nomination for Astor Park, which was identified during our survey update. And we had already done a public meeting for the owners of the Astor Park neighborhood. So this is different from our big Astor, actual Astor Park. We might have to think of a different name for it so people don't get confused, but we'll be going forward with that nomination as part of this application.
okay. Well, thank you for that.
I think that's it.
Okay. Anyone have anything else they'd like to add? Okay, well, the date of our next meeting is October 16th of 2024, and we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Hey, having a motion and a second to adjourn, all those in favor say goodbye.
Aye.
Bye.
Aye.
Bye, thank you all.